Hello, Egg here. I was in the bar the other day and we were, like when you had a few drinks and you're having a chat with people in a Pattaya bar, and we came up with a scenario. And the scenario is this. Mr. Egg, you have been deported, or you are being deported from Thailand. Hooray, you're all saying. No, there's more to it. And I'm being dragged, screaming and kicking up the steps of the plane at Suvarnabhumi Airport. I'm going back to the UK and I can never return to Thailand. This is a scenario, this is not the truth. I'm sorry to break this news to you. What would be the things that I miss the most about life here in Thailand? I've been here for 15 years. I very seldomly go back to the West. But when I do, I get a picture of what life is like in the West and what my future life in this scenario would be. So, Mr. Egg's off back to the UK, never to return to Thailand. I believe the UK's that way. What am I going to miss? Here's 5 things. The first thing I'm going to miss when I go back to the UK, well, it's quite obvious. I mean, come on, let's talk man to man now. Why is it that all these single men in their 40s and 50s, balding, slightly overweight, come to Thailand? Absolutely correct. Got it in one. The bum gun. What do you mean you thought I was going to talk about the hot women? No. Bum guns is the number one. Trust me. If you've lived over here in Thailand or Southeast Asia for a long time, the first thing you realise as soon as you get back to the UK, what kind of backwards third world country is this? There are no bum guns. Now, I'd like any plumbers or professional people in the comments down below to let me know why you cannot put a bum gun, which is basically like a water spray to clean after you've been to the toilet. If you don't know, in fact, if you don't know about bum guns, take a look up there. I'm going to put my very first video on this channel, which was all about bum guns. It's a comedy, apparently anyway. It's a sort of comedy. So any plumbers out there know for why. Some people have told me because of the changing temperatures, the fluctuating temperatures in the West, the pipes will freeze and you'll be spraying like ice cold water up your nether regions. Not sure. It's always handy in the UK. Here's me giving you tips about the UK, to bring some wet wipes or something. I know too much information. But bum guns, it's the number one thing I'm going to miss. Come on, England, America, Australia, get with it. Get spraying, come on. The next thing I wanted to talk about is, it's quite a big subject, and I wrote down the word prices. And I'm not just talking about a full English breakfast at Cheap Charlie's and the prices of other things here in Thailand that you might think about, but look at it from a business owner's perspective. I'm Mr. Egg. I've got 2 bars on Soy Diamond. Nice little plug coming in now. My bar, the pub, and also next door, the bar Milk. So I've set up 2 businesses, and I also was involved in setting up a business in the UK, the same sort of business, a bar, or rather a nightclub. And I can tell you that it is far easier and cheaper to set up a business, for example, here in Thailand. So you've got expenses like rent, which can be higher or lower, but then you've got public liability insurance, the beer is cheaper, the staff, it's so much easier to hire people over here. There isn't all the red tape that you get over in the UK. And also things like I show the Premier League here in the pub. To do that legally over here, I pay 3,000 baht a month. I get a great satellite system and I get loads of channels showing all the top sport in the best quality. Over in the UK, similar sort of system would cost nearly £1,000 a month in some bars, depending on how big you are. By the way, how big you are over here doesn't matter. Everyone pays the same price. But you get what I mean. And then you look at things like the cost of VAT. VAT, or sales tax, here in Thailand is 7%. In the UK, I believe it is now 20%. And in certain Western countries, it's higher and higher. It's great. Low taxation economy. Yes, it has its negatives. We have some of the worst roads that you've ever seen. If you get sick, there's no social security system over here, so you have to pay for yourself. You have to pay if mama and papa get sick, if they get old. There's no government to help them. So it's a low taxation economy. It's good in some ways, but if you're a business person, I really think it's so easy and quick to set up a business over here. So prices, not just for the essential things in life, but for other things as well, definitely better here in Southeast Asia. The next thing I wrote down was colours. And I am aware that there are colours in the UK. But last time I was home in Birmingham, I went to New Street Station. Only it's not called New Street Station anymore, it's called Grand Central. And I think it's based on the Grand Central Station in New York, because there's this big sort of central collection area with all shops all around, and people are just running and walking very quickly from this platform to that platform, going to the shops, going back home, going for a taxi, and there's just people darting around everywhere. And I remember being in there and looking around and thinking, there's just no colour here. Everything is grey. I know they say 50 shades of grey, but it was true. You never ever got any amazingly bright colours. And it might be something to do, I think, with the fact that we are closer to the equator here, so the sun is higher, and certainly the sun seems to shine brighter here, and because it's brighter you get these wonderful colours. I mean, look around you. Today is a particularly hot day, and there's a beautiful, well, there is a lovely blue sky. The beach is looking very, very nice today, and look at the trees. You don't get the change of the trees like you do in the UK. So autumn comes and the trees go to a sort of an orangey colour, don't they? And sorry, the leaves turn orange, and then they fall down, and the trees look like little skeletons for about 4 or 5 months of the year. You don't get that here. Deciduous trees, 365 days of the year. And I just think that everywhere you go, in the daytime, clearly, an explosion of colour. Go to markets at night or in the daytime. Look at all the fruit and vegetables, and you get the beautiful reds of the chili peppers and the greens and the yellows. And it's quite an amazing. It really is, on the senses. It's quite an explosion, and you really just don't get that in the UK. And it could be a little bit of a psychological thing, but definitely colour, brightness, and just feeling great to be alive. That's something I would definitely miss. The next thing I wrote down was friends, and this is a bit of a sad tale really, because I'm obviously a bar owner over here in Thailand. When I was in England, I used to work in the same sort of industry, and I can tell you that the amount of people that I used to talk to some days, if I had a day off, for example, and I wasn't in one of the bars that I used to work in, and I was all on my own at this time, didn't have a girlfriend, or even when I did have a girlfriend, I would literally go days without actually talking to anyone, and I wouldn't get any messages on my phone. Obviously there's been the explosion of social media since then, but I wouldn't actually communicate with anybody. Being in the bar, especially the pub, which is more of a kind of a social bar, I have met thousands of people, and it's a little United Nations from all over the world, America, Australia, and European countries, and other places as well. People that I would never ever have met if I was just stuck in Birmingham in the UK. And I was never very good at geography at school. I wasn't very good at school, to be honest, but I was never good at geography. I have learnt so much about your countries. I could probably be shown a map of Australia and point out where all the towns, the major cities were, where all the major provinces are. States, whoops. And And talking of states, I could probably point out all the major states in America now, because I've met people from virtually every single state in America, and I know something a little bit about all those places. I understand about life in all these different countries just by talking to people, and it's something that I never used to do. I used to maybe go for something to eat in the UK, go back home, and I would never speak to a single person all day. That never ever happens here. Even if I'm walking down the street on a BART bus, you'll start automatically talking to people. It's just that sort of city here in Pattaya. People are friendly, people want to talk, they're happy, they're having a good time, and they want to share those good times with you. So, communication, friendship, that's something, when I go back to England and I'm on my Todd, it's Billy no mates, I'm going to miss that. The last one I wanted to talk about was, it's a bit of a big sort of subject, and it's freedom. And it's the kind of, it encompasses a lot of things really, but the sort of mai pen rai attitude, never mind over here. If you kind of don't really fit in the UK, if you're, or wherever you're from, if you're like the perpetual round peg in a square hole, or is it the other way around, I can never remember, you'll kind of get on okay here in Thailand. For example, I know a guy that was a little bit more mature, shall we say, and he tried to get into a nightclub in a very, very trendy part of the West End of London, and he turned up, and the door team says, no, sorry mate, you're too boring for here. And to be honest, I say it was about my friend, could have been about me really, because I am the most boring person, even though I used to work in that industry. But you can see the situation, can't you? No, we don't want your type in here. But if you go to, say, 808 nightclub or Lucifer in the evening, you will see guys that are 50, 60, 70, bopping away to the latest hip-hop sounds and making shapes on the dance floor. And you just kind of fit in here. You walk around. How many times have you done this? If you've been to Pattaya a few times, and you just sit there and people watch, and you see couples like little small guys with these huge great big lady boys, or guys dressed as girls dressed as guys. It goes on all the time here, and there doesn't seem to be any anger about it or anything. It's just like, oh well, that's Pattaya, you know, let's just get on with it. And from what I can feel about life back in the UK at the moment, speaking as a British citizen, I just don't feel that it's like that now. Everyone's very angry, everyone wants to label you, and you don't get that at all here. I've never been pulled up, for example, about my pronouns or anything like that, or somebody else's pronouns. So the West seems to have moved on in a bit of a negative way, and time kind of stands still here in Pattaya and in Thailand in general. So freedom, it's a big kind of subject, and it's difficult to put into words sometimes, and I'm not the best wordsmith, but you understand what I mean. Just be yourself over here, and you know, if you're not the sort of person that other people like, well, mai pen rai, never mind. Can't believe Mr. Egg's done a thing about all the things he'd miss about Pattaya, and he didn't mention the girls. Well, I had lots of girlfriends in England, so I'm not going to miss women. Okay, I'm obviously going to miss the female company as well, but I didn't want to do the obvious ones. So there you have it. 5 things that I'm going to miss if I have to go back to the UK, and 5 things that might be attracting you to this country if you're thinking of moving here or retiring here. It's obviously a two-way street, so let me know in the comments please down below what you think about what I've said and the things that you would miss. Maybe you live here, or if you've been on here on holiday for a long time, what things would you miss about this country if you couldn't come back here anymore? I'm Mr. Egg, Phil. You can catch me at my bars Milk and the Pub on Soy Diamond. I'm there most days from about 4:30, 5 o'clock. But for me here on Pattaya Beach, I'm going to stay here for a little bit longer. I'm sorry to say. See you soon. Bye-bye.